Host here for 570 WNAX. Thanks for tuning in here today on this Friday and joining us. So as we kick off your program here today, we have a special guest with us we're excited to welcome on. I have with me Ernie Davis. He is the CEO of Certified Hereford Beef. So Ernie, thanks for joining us on WNAX, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's so excited to be back on the show. I appreciate you inviting me back to talk about Certified Hereford Beef.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited to hear what you guys have been up to there at CHB. So I guess starting with that, since we last visited, anything new for you? I guess what's kind of been keeping you busy at CHB this summer?
So this summer, it's been, really focusing on meeting with customers, our retailers, our different food service distributors and retail distributors, and even some of our Hereford ranchers, and, just having conversations about the brand and, making sure that we're giving them the support that they need. We continue to take a look at our 3-year strategic plan and execute against that. But, we're really focused on one mission, Danielle, and that is creating more demand for certified Hereford beef and more value for our Hereford cattle.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess creating demand right now is just a big topic. I mean, for all ag products, because, you have to have a place to go with it. That's one thing that needs to be done. But, I guess how does CHB kind of create demand for its product? And I mean, what does that kind of look like from your end?
Yeah, and when you think about demand, it doesn't happen on its own. It has to be created. So, certified Hereford beef, our team really works with our retailers, our food service distributors, different restaurants, our meat buyers, to really expand availability, expand their offerings, whether it's at getting a new item on the menu, getting a new item on the shelves at the retailers. So it's focusing on those things, those underserved cuts that we know that there's value there, especially in this market. There's a lot of value that we can provide to consumers. So we focus in on that to help create demand. And then it's about supporting our customers with merchandising, giving them the tools to be able to tell the story. We do a lot of digital marketing and provide them with those assets. We do a lot of training. Our team has been out doing numerous sales trainings, coaching and training and teaching food service distributor and retail reps how to sell our program and how to get new customers on board, and then really focusing in on that consumer education.
Yeah, and that is just so important because ultimately all of that you just named, I mean, that adds a demand and that brings value to the producer and to the Hereford breed and your customers' cattle.
Yeah, and because at the end of the day, everything we do is about creating more opportunities for Hereford producers, and we do that by creating that demand and expanding that customer base with certified Hereford beef.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that reflects to the retail level too, So I guess, why are retailers and restaurants, interested in certified Hereford beef and carrying that product?
Well, I think it's what we really talk about all the time, and it's that consistent eating experience and that bold, beefy flavor that we have because of the Hereford genetics. Our producers, Hereford producers, have really been focusing on improving the breed, and that flavor profile that we get from that is, it doesn't compare with anything else out there. It's kind of crazy. We've done cuttings after cuttings against competition, and we continue to win them. Knock on wood, but it's unheard of that we continue to win all these cuttings that we go up against other programs. So, and then it's connecting the consumers with our family ranchers or with their stories and talking about that, connecting them to where their food's coming from. Now, we can't say, hey, it's coming off of these ranches, but these producers, the Hereford producers are our owners. They own certified Hereford beef. So it's connecting them with those families as well. And then obviously talking about our sustainability story, the feed efficiency, and how that is saving precious natural resources.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned before, it's just so important to just educate the consumer, that ranchers do a good job and they select for genetics to perform. And, like you mentioned, the breed genetic history and standards, they keep that product consistent and of a good quality. So, I mean, it's just great to inform the consumers of that as well.
Yeah, because, retailers and consumers, they don't want just another beef brand. They want a story. They want to have, they want some authenticity with it. And that's what we bring to the table.
Absolutely. And I guess where exactly, is CHB found? If somebody would want to walk into a grocery store or a restaurant, where can you find that?
So, we're available coast to coast. We're still a growing, developing brand, Danielle. So, any specifics, especially out in your area, it's kind of hard for me to give some specifics because I do have some food service distributors that are distributing into those areas. I just added a distributor that is covering 5 states out west. It got us into California, Colorado, but that takes time to build. So, I don't have any, some of our big retail chain out west is, Ridley's. And, they're based out of the Boise, Idaho market. And so, there's a number of places that we go into with independent groceries, these regional supermarket chains like Ridley's, specialty meat markets, and different restaurants.
Gotcha. So just curious there on where you could maybe find it too. So I guess with that, is there anything that you would just want to send out to our Hereford producers and want them to know about what you're doing there at Certified Hereford Beef?
Yeah, I would say, obviously the first thing we want to do is thank them for their commitment and, continuing to support, Certified Hereford Beef and their commitment to quality with their cattle. CHB, we're working hard every day to build demand and create new opportunities. And having that support from our rancher partners has just been tremendous. It's more and more when we get into different states, we've got rancher partners and, producer partners in every single state, and we want to highlight them. And we're building more and more of a database to be able to talk about their families. And then we really just want to thank them for their investment in the genetics, because the genetics deserve a strong place in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Very well said. Well, before I let you go, I guess anything upcoming for CHB as we kind of near the end of summer and jump into fall, anything we should kind of be keeping on our radar?
Yeah, so we've got the American Hereford Conference coming up in October. I believe it's the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. It's a great opportunity for our partners to meet and interact with our producers. So we invite some of our customers to come out to that. And if we can get our producer partners there, that's fantastic. We've got ranch tours coming up that'll be, bringing in customers to, again, doing training with different sales teams with our distributors. So, lots of stuff going on.
Absolutely. No, everybody is always busy for sure. So Ernie, Ernie, thank you for joining us here today on the afternoon 5-State Farm Report. You have a great rest of your day. It was good to catch up with you. So thank you.
You too, Danielle. I appreciate it. And thank you to your audience as well.
Absolutely. All right. Again, that's Ernie Davis. He is the CEO of Certified Hereford Beef, joining us here today on your afternoon 5-State Farm Report. So with that, we'll take a quick break, and then we will take a look at your markets here at the bottom of the hour. So stay tuned.
Local issues important to you are important to us. Catch the Weekend File, Sunday morning at 7.